We're going to follow with two presentations, and at the end of the second presentation, we'll have a Q&A too. The first speaker is Sara Grimes, and she's going to be speaking on branding children's play, mapping the commercial convergence of media, toys, and gaming in virtual worlds for kids. You can come stand up. I didn't finish. You come stand up. I want to say more about you.
Oh,
okay. Sara Grimes is a PhD candidate with the School of Communication at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, Canada. Her dissertation and published works explore the commercialization of children's digital play technologies, focusing on ethical, legal, and policy implications. Sara is also the author of the Gamine Expedition blog, which tracks new developments within children's media, digital gaming, and other issues related to children and play. Sara, you can now speak.
All right, I have some slides to show, so just get this set up. So I'd like to start my talk today by briefly revisiting an issue that is certainly familiar to most of you here today, licensed toys and their impact and role within children's play. How's this? Better?
Can you hold it and talk, or jump right into it?
Sure. Because in order to understand the mechanisms and issues at work beneath all the hype and phenomena around virtual worlds for kids, I think it's important to position these sites as part of a much larger tradition within children's commercial culture. The ongoing but never fully realizable corporate quest to colonize kids' play worlds. The merger of toys and television is often credited with introducing a number of key practices that in many ways characterize the commercialization of kids' culture, things like program-length commercials, for example. But perhaps the most important innovation was how this merger led to the development of a new and intense emphasis on children's play as the locus of commercialization, not just in terms of providing kids with branded toys or games, but also in terms of reaching into their fantasy worlds and providing them with the contents and themes of play itself. The approach can be likened to lifestyle branding, where toys are seen, to paraphrase an executive at Mind Candy, not only as an additional revenue source, but as something that allows for a deeper connection with children in their everyday play experience. Here, play potential is envisioned as the capacity for play to become aligned with commercial themes and priorities, a sort of branding of play. As Heather Hendershot describes, many children's toy producers believe that licensed toys are particularly effective in tapping into this perceived commercial play potential. She describes that within the toy industry, it is the intertextuality enabled by cross-promotion and media synergy that makes all the difference. Intertextuality is created when several texts, programs, or products not only all revolve around the same characters or property, but also refer to each other in a consistent and integrated manner. The term thus refers to a whole that is much greater than the sum of its individual parts, and it's a whole and it's a story that can only really be achieved when many products and texts are consumed in conjunction, and in a way can never really be achieved because there's always more to buy and more story that you're not quite in on. The idea behind licensed toys is that this commercial play potential is only fully realized, For instance, the television program introduces children to storylines and characters, while ads for the licensed toys translate these narrative elements into play scripts, showing kids how specific toys and accessories can be used to recreate the excitement and fantasy of the program or film. Studies conducted by Klein, Seiter, and Griffiths have all found a strong emphasis on make-believe or fantasy play within licensed toy ads, which often juxtapose images of the cartoon characters actively engaged in their animated worlds with images of real children playing with the tie-in toys. A similar pattern has also been observed among real-life children. Alongside the increased presence of licensed toys in children's toy boxes, studies conducted since the 1980s have discovered that children do indeed incorporate media-based storylines and characters into their own play narratives. This phenomenon has spurred both public controversy as well as ongoing academic debate about the effects and functions of licensed toys in children's play culture. This, of course, is in addition to the concerns and findings about the effects of licensed toys and games on children's psychological and physical health and well-being. A key focus of this debate is the extent to which scripts and structures provided by media and advertising limit the scope and contents of children's actual play. To this, we can add emerging work being done within the fields of design and technology studies, which have observed the additional limitations placed on children's play as a result of increasingly specialized toy designs, toys that can only do one or two things, that break easily if not played with properly, toys that are too complex to manipulate without frustration. On the other hand, and perhaps in response to these findings, theorists have also noted the creative ways in which children integrate, appropriate, subvert, and transform the various scripts provided by the media programs, ads, and toy designs, particularly when playing with peers in groups, using imagination, and so on. Drawing on the theories of Pierre Bourdieu and Erik Erikson, scholars such as Ellen Sider argue that licensed toys can provide children with therapeutic opportunities for creative ritualization, and that they can facilitate group cooperative play by encouraging children to make up stories with well-known icons and shared cultural themes. So licensed toys could allow children the opportunity to make sense of their culture, to play out and manipulate the cultural messages that they're being bombarded with every day, perhaps even to subvert and reject those messages in creative and unexpected ways. Flash forward to the present, where the newest form of licensed toys, the virtual toy, in the infiltration of branding into children's play lives, has reached unanticipated heights within branded digital games. Unsurprisingly, the children's television and toy industries have become key players in the digital play arena. Websites produced by children's television and toy companies consistently rank among the most frequented and top-rated by child users. This is important because the vast majority of North American children, up to 87% according to some studies, play online games, and some studies have argued that kids spend more time playing online games than any other online activity. The children's television industry uses games to cross-promote programs, enabling kids to play with digital versions of the characters from their favorite television shows. Another common practice is the inclusion of sponsored advergames, which consist of interactive advertisements loosely disguised as games. And unsurprisingly, many of these advergames are sponsored by the same companies who advertise during Saturday morning cartoons, and including advertisers who now are being pushed off of the Saturday morning cartoon blocks by activists concerned with the links between fast food and candy and sugar cereal and obesity, so toys, sugar cereal, candy, and fast food restaurants. The most recent entries into this market are now attempting to combine established formulas with multiplayer and other Web 2.0 applications, social networking, user-generated content, etc. Online games like Nickelodeon's Nicktropolis and Mattel's BarbieGirls.com claim the title of virtual worlds, or massively multiplayer online games, which I'm going to call MOGs for the rest of this presentation in the interest of saving a bit of time. This is partly in response to the growing popularity of these types of games among older players, but also because kids are obviously flocking to them as well. Habbo Hotel and The Sims Online are good examples. And the children's industries want in on a perceived new fad. But there are a number of important differences between these child-oriented branded games, like B-Brats and Webkins, and popular adult and teen-oriented MOGs like World of Warcraft and Second Life, which you may have heard of. And I think that it's within some of these differences that we can begin to observe the full implications of a shift from a commercialization of toys and play sets to the encoded commercialization that becomes possible in digital games. In their traditional form, if you'll allow me to say traditional MOGs in the same breath, MOGs consist of large three-dimensional games that allow multiple players, up to thousands at a time, to play together simultaneously. They feature ongoing storylines, occur in real time, and continue to evolve whether or not the players are present. The most popular, World of Warcraft, claims 10 million players worldwide. In terms of the gameplay, they are open-ended, malleable, highly responsive to player input and creativity, as well as extremely social. Players are often required to play together and communicate in order to progress through the game, leading many scholars to approach these games as a form of virtual community. And one of the most marked aspects of the most popular of the genre is that they have very little to no advertising at all. That would conflict with the fantasy worlds that are being created within the games.